Invocation. I begin my study with a prayer that prepares my body, mind, and soul for this journey. I wish for my body to remain healthy, my speech to be sweet and truthful, my breaths to be calm and steady, my eyes to become capable of seeing knowledge, my ears to hear only truth and teachings, and all my senses to remain disciplined. I want my mind to be focused, free from distractions, and fully prepared for self-knowledge. I believe that the knowledge in the Upanishads is the form of Brahman itself, the ultimate truth. May I never deny Brahman, nor ever feel indifference toward this knowledge within me. Also, I wish that Brahman never abandons me. May our relationship always remain, without any doubt or distrust. I also pray that this connection never weakens. May my mind, my consciousness, and my existence always remain connected to that truth. I do not want to allow any kind of distance, separation, or denial to arise from within me. I want my path to be clear, my mind to be pure, and my purpose to be unwavering. May the principles, virtues, and doctrines that I am studying, which are described in the Upanishads, not remain mere words. May they become my thinking, my conduct, my identity. May they sink into me, and may my life become a living example of those principles. And finally, I wish for complete peace with this surrender. I wish that no external crisis befalls me, neither from nature, nor from society, nor from the restlessness of my own mind. May I remain peaceful inside, secure outside, and stand firmly on the path that connects me to the soul, leading me towards Brahman. Chapter 1. I think with a deep curiosity, the thoughts that arise in my mind. By whose inspiration do they arise? When my mind goes in some direction, who is driving it? The breaths that flow, by which I am alive. By whose inspiration does that life force act within them? When I speak, how does my voice speak? The power that gives birth to my words, where does it come from? My eyes see, my ears hear. But what is that divine element that truly connects all these? Which deity, which consciousness gives these senses their motion and meaning? As I progress towards self-knowledge, I begin to realize that the things I thought I knew until now were all superficial. My eyes, which see, only see forms. My ears, which hear, only catch sounds. My voice, which speaks, can only express limited things in limited words. And my mind, which thinks, also constantly gets entangled in the past, future, desires, and conflicts. Now, I ask myself a profound question. Is this all there is? Or is there something beyond all this? Something that gives the eyes the power to see, gives speech its words, gives the mind the ability to think? Is there such a consciousness that stands silently behind all these actions, seeing everything, but never revealing itself? I am approaching this mystery, and then suddenly there's a jolt. I know that I cannot see that supreme truth. Neither can my eyes reach there, nor can my voice express it, nor can my mind fully understand it. It is beyond my limitations. I want to grasp it, know it, but each time it escapes the limits of my understanding. Now, I must find the courage to look within myself. I know this is not some external object that I will attain. This is not some principle or idea that I will memorize. This is an experience, and such an experience that cannot be expressed in words or thoughts. I had heard from my ancestors that truth is neither known nor unknown. It is beyond both these categories. Whatever I know is limited, and whatever I do not know is darkness. But that truth is such that it is higher than both. It is that which gives me the ability to know, which has brought me to this curiosity. Now I know the path of this search is not outward but inward. Words must be transformed into silence. Thinking must be calmed, and one must surrender oneself to that consciousness which knows everything but never reveals itself. Now I have reached a point where I clearly feel that what I have been worshiping, understanding, trying to grasp in various forms, are all external symbols. They are merely indications, but the truth that is far beyond these indications. The voice with which I tried to call it couldn't even touch it, because it is not something that can be called with words. It is that from which words derive their power. My thoughts, all my imaginations cannot touch its depth. Even when my mind thinks of something, that truth remains outside of it, because it is that which gives the mind the ability to think. It is behind the thoughts, and only when thoughts stop does one get a glimpse of it. I now realize that my eyes cannot see it either. They can show the world, they can catch colors, but the light by which eyes see, that light is it. It is the witness sitting behind my vision, which sees but cannot be seen. My ears cannot capture its sound either. They hear external sounds, but what gives the power of hearing, what makes all this possible, is itself silent. And this silence, that source is Brahman, that which is behind these sounds, that which makes hearing possible. My breaths flow, the pulse of life flows within, but now I can see that these breaths do not flow by their own power. There is something that is moving them, that is pulsating life from within, and that which gives motion even to the life force, that is Brahman. Chapter 2. I am told, if you think you have known Brahman well, then in reality you have known very little. Hearing this, there is a stir within me. I think, is it possible that all my practice, all my understanding, is actually incomplete? But as soon as I pause and look within, I realize that knowing Brahman is not about grasping an object. It is not some limited information, not a definition. It is about freeing oneself from every limitation. When I say I know, at that moment I maintain, and that very is the obstacle in experiencing Brahman. Because Brahman is that in which this I also dissolves. I was thinking that I had seen that truth somewhere, in deities, in worship, in words, but now I realize that it is beyond every symbol. And then a true answer emerges from within me. No, I cannot say that I have known Brahman, but I also cannot say that I do not know it at all. This statement seems contradictory at first, but upon careful consideration, it is deeply true, because one who truly knows it never claims. He knows that this knowledge is beyond words, beyond thought, and beyond calling it mine. This knowing is like a silent experience, which can only be felt but cannot be said. I now understand that this journey is not about reaching a conclusion, but about abandoning every conclusion. And then perhaps, in that abandonment, in that silence, that unsaid, unseen, unrevealed truth reveals itself. Now this is my profound realization. He who says he has not known. And he who knows that this knowing is impossible, perhaps he truly knows. Now we move towards deeper mysteries, where the search for knowledge and truth takes the form of a renewal. It is like a process where I set aside my thoughts and beliefs and see myself from a new perspective. When I think that I have fully understood something, I am deluding myself. It is an ignorance of the truth that I try to understand what I have known and what I have not. In fact, true knowledge is attained when I recognize my limitations and understand that any beliefs or thoughts can constrict my knowledge. Whatever I have felt so far is limited to the boundaries of my personality and thinking. This is the moment when I recognize that real knowledge exists only in that space where thoughts and ideologies completely quieten. I realize that every thought, every stream provides only a partial perspective, which is far from that infinite truth. As soon as I free myself from my ideologies and move towards a peace, I immerse in the experience of an unseen, invisible power, which is beyond words, beyond hearing, and even beyond vision. This invisible truth can only be experienced when I abandon my intellectuality and ego, completely absorbing it. This experience is not just momentary, but that eternal truth which flows in every aspect of life. As I delve into this understanding, I realize that real knowledge is not what I know, but what I experience. It is a self-awareness that is beyond the limits of time and space. This is the experience that pulls me towards immortality. This immortality is not just beyond death, but present in every moment, when I feel the deep power within me. This is the experience that helps me unravel the mysteries of life and empowers my soul. True knowledge happens when I understand that this knowledge is not about knowing an external object, but about knowing oneself. When I connect with that unseen, invisible consciousness, I feel that I myself am also a part of that Brahman. In this journey, I come to understand that knowledge comes to me not from the external world, but from within. This is the moment when I move towards peace and balance and fully feel the truth of life. In this journey, I accept that every truth that can be seen in the external world is just a glimpse. The real truth is that which comes from within, which is attained not through any word or thought, but through experience. In this understanding, I now know that to know the truth, I will have to look beyond any religion, scripture, or belief. This happens when I transcend the limitations of my heart and mind and become part of that supreme experience, which is present in every aspect of life. As I move forward, this truth and knowledge begin to integrate within me. And I feel that now I can understand that immortality which flows through every aspect of life. Chapter 3. The third part of the Kenopanishad tells us an interesting story about the unique form of Brahman and its powers. This part begins the journey of knowing the power of Brahman and its reality, in which the deities themselves strive to know this mystery. The story begins with the victory of Brahman. Brahman achieved a great victory for the deities, which made the deities extremely proud. They felt that this victory was their own and praised their own glory. Here is an important realization that when a victory is achieved through the power of Brahman, understanding its glory and reality is possible only through a change in attitude. The deities think that this victory was achieved by them, but they do not realize that in reality, this victory is the result of the power manifested by Brahman. When the deities saw the victory of Brahman and felt its glory, they desired to know what this wonderful power and victory actually was. Motivated by this curiosity, they sent their various accomplished and powerful deities. First, they sent Agni, the fire deity. Agni eagerly tried to find out who it was, but could not answer this question. Agni, who has the power to burn everything, also expressed inability to recognize that Yaksha. The same situation occurred with Vayu. Vayu, who has the power to blow away everything on earth, also could not identify that Yaksha. Thus, in this section, we realize that all the physical powers and deities are small before the power of Brahman. They are unable to understand this invisible and infinite power. To recognize that Yaksha form of Brahman, all the powers of the deities become powerless, and they realize that the reality of Brahman is far beyond all of them. Now Indra, who is the king of the gods, is sent to know this mystery. He becomes eager to know the identity of the Yaksha, but as soon as he reaches that place, the Yaksha disappears. Here, an important perspective is that only a person who is at a high level mentally and spiritually can feel the power of Brahman and its reality. From here, a new direction comes in the story. Indra realizes that the identity of Brahman is not only from its external powers, but from spiritual experience. Thus, when Indra reaches that place again, he sees the form of Brahman in a female form, which appears as Uma, the daughter of the Himalayas. This scene is to explain to us that the reality of Brahman, its identity, and its form are very profound and mysterious, which only a person who has reached a specific state can understand. There is a very important lesson in this section. Physical powers and worldly knowledge cannot fully understand the reality of Brahman. For real understanding and experience, a deep soul is needed that can feel the unique form of Brahman. The powers of the deities, which are generally considered great, also become incapable of knowing this mystery. The conclusion of all this is that the real identity of Brahman can only be attained through experience, and this experience arises only within a seeker. Chapter 4. In this portion of the Kenopanishad, the deep nature of Brahman and its recognition by the deities is described in detail, explaining how the essence of Brahman is understood in various forms. The chapter begins with Uma, daughter of Himavat, who tells the deities that the Yaksha they saw was actually Brahman. It was because of Brahman's victory that the deities received this glory. This understanding happened to Indra, the king of the deities, who realized that the Yiksha was actually Brahman. In this moment, the message is received that there is a deep connection between Brahman and the world, and its true form can only be understood through self-knowledge. The deities, Agni, Vayu, and Indra, are told that they are superior to other deities because they recognize the Yiksha most closely and first understood it as Brahman. This indicates that these deities are supreme not only from the perspective of power, but also spiritually. Indra is particularly known as the first deity who recognized the Yiksha as Brahman. This shows that the relationship with Brahman is not limited to external power, but is based on inner understanding and spiritual awareness. Various metaphors are given to further clarify the nature of Brahman. It is described as a flash of heavenly lightning or a moment of blinking an eye, moments that are brief yet extremely intense, reflecting the immediate and transcendental nature of Brahman. These metaphors express that Brahman is an element that cannot be captured by ordinary senses, but it exists in every moment. This metaphor shows that Brahman is an entity that is neither bound in time nor in place, but is fully present in every moment. In terms of human understanding, it is said that the mind moves very rapidly towards Brahman, suggesting that the attainment of self-knowledge and remembering Brahman is a mental and psychological process. This is why mental discipline and meditation processes are important, as they help connect the mind with Brahman. It is also said that Brahman should be worshipped by the name Tadvan, which means revered. All beings, in whatever form they may be, are attracted towards it, and those who recognize Brahman in this form are honored. This principle confirms that Brahman is not just an abstract idea, but it is a living entity connected with love and devotion. Recognizing Brahman is the path to reaching the highest level of life, where the presence of Brahman is felt among all living forms. Conclusion. May all my limbs, speech, life breath, eyes, ears, strength, and all senses be nourished. The entire universe, which is in manifest form, is Brahman as described in the Upanishads. May I never deny Brahman. May Brahman never deny me. May there be no negativity for me. May all the virtues described in the Upanishads be absorbed within me, for I am immersed in the soul. May those virtues dwell in me.